Welcome to the Contrarians, and tonight I want to welcome Rand Kelly to the show. We are going to take a look at the new Yes album, Mirror to the Sky. This just came out, heck, not even a week ago, and tonight we're going to take a look at it, and Rand is going to give his review. So without any further ado, let's get this one started. Welcome to the Contrarians, and tonight we have a special episode. We are going to do a review on the new Yes studio album, Mirror to the Sky, right here. This came out actually just 2 days ago on May 19th of 2023 on Inside Out Music and Sony Music. This is a bit of a departure. Actually, this is a bit of a what should I say? An extension of kind of what came before with the Quest. Steve Howe has a quote. He said, "This is a very important album for the band. We kept the continuity and the approach we established on the Quest, but we haven't repeated ourselves. That was the main thing. As Yes did in the 70s, from one album to another, we're growing and moving forward. In later years, Yes often got going, but then didn't do the next thing. This album is a demonstration of us growing and building again." So this is kind of exciting. This record's kind of got a buzz. I think people are digging it. So I thought we'd look at this on the Contrarians, and who else would I invite other than Rand Kelly? Everybody's seen Rand, and when you think prog, you think Rand Kelly. So who better else to have on the show than Rand? And Rand's already been listening to the record. He's been soaking it in. Here's the prop again. I'm going to throw it over to Rand Kelly to get his impressions of the record and his rating. Will a hardcore Yes fan dig this record? Because think about it. This is an album full of members that aren't original members. Yeah, you got Steve Howe. He's the oldest member here, and Jeff Downs. Those are the two veteran members of Yes that are here. But does that make a difference? I mean, after listening to this record, I can hardly wait to hear what they're going to come up with next. So let's throw it over to Rand to get his thoughts on it. Rand, how are you? Welcome to the show. Nice to see you.
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on again. Well, as everybody knows, Yes is my favorite band, and they can do no wrong. But, everything's in layers and varying degrees. I mean, I got a couple of CDs here just for a visual. So when you stack CDs, like a band, Yes, 23 CDs plus live albums, you're going to get your favorite on top and your least favorite on the bottom. And Roger Dean just outdid himself on the artwork. Yeah. By the way, I should say the reason I don't have props is because I ordered the box set and it's not being released until June 7th or something. Or no, wait, it'll be June 9th, I guess. But I got the deluxe box set with all the CDs, Blu-rays, and the LPs and the book, and the biggest one they had. Because that's me. I always do that. I did the same thing for the Quest. I wasn't able to do it for Heaven and Earth because they didn't really offer it back then in 2014, but I did get the Japanese SHM CD just because I wanted, the best sound possible. And I think since I brought those two albums up, The Quest and Heaven and Earth, I think for people to judge, and I've seen it a lot on Facebook already, there's certain unnamed people that won't listen to this, won't even give the time to it, because of what they felt about Heaven and Earth and the Quest. And I think that's really unfair. And I think you're cheating yourselves. You know who I'm talking about. But you're cheating yourselves, I think, that missing out on some really great music. This is some of the proggiest Yes that I've heard since Key Studio. I mean, I would put this right up there with that album, not even hesitating. A lot of people are saying it's the best since The Ladder, but that's a popular quote going around. That's not really how I think about it. I think it's more like the Keys to Ascension studio tracks. This is really top notch. Yes. My Steve Howe's on fire. Billy Sherwood and the new drummer Jay Shellen, they've been great friends for years. They've played together for years, and you can tell they're just in sync with each other. The rhythm section is just brutal on some of these songs, and everything's just very, I don't know, yes-ish. I don't know anywhere to put it. The opening track, you want me to just go down the line?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, feel free.
Okay, so yeah, Cut from the Stars is the opening cut, and that was released, a few weeks back. And I purposely didn't want to listen to that song a lot. And then All Connected came out, and I did the same thing, where I just heard it once and waited for the album because I didn't want those two to be out of balance with the rest of the album, because I think that taints your bias, your judgmental.
Yeah, or your perception of it, because
Exactly.
you'll already be so accustomed to those tracks.
Yeah, it's like
I
I already felt that, even though I'd heard them a few times. I
Hmm.
put it on and I was going, well, I've heard these two already. Why don't I just jump to the third track? But that's not how albums are. You don't listen to albums that way. So I had to go back in the old days, like a record or an 8-track, and say, well, listen, I'll just listen from the very beginning and we'll just do it again. And that's what I did. So when I get mine, I'm going to go crazy with it. But anyways, in the meantime, I've heard it a couple of times already, 3 times, I think. And I love this record. I think it's really good. Cut from the Stars is a great opening tune. I mean, so it's kind of like rhythm, kind of like the Ice Bridge, but it's a little more, I would say it's a little more snappy. And of course, no, this is no difference at all to uh, Alan White, but he just didn't have, the energy that was needed to do the Ice Bridge, because he wasn't doing it live, that's for sure. Jay Shellen was. But anyways, we miss Alan, but I think Jay Shellen has stepped up and really put a whole new shot of adrenaline into this band, musical adrenaline. I think Jay Shellen's drumming is just fantastic on the whole record, except for one song, and I'll get to that later. And it'll be funny when I tell you. But anyways, Cut from the Stars, I think it's a great opening. It's an earworm. I've been listening to the melody in my head all day long, walking around outside or whatever, taking the dog. And I just can't get that vocal out of my head. The melodies, it's very, very easy to remember, kind of like Owner of a Lonely Heart is easy to remember. And the Ice Bridge didn't sit with me that way. It wasn't an earworm, but I thought it was definitely the best song on the Quest. And I'm not here to really compare, because I'm all about not comparing with other albums. So I just wanted, for its own merit, to say that Mirror to the Sky is a great freaking Yes album. I love it. I really do. So, Cut from the Stars, it's a shorter song, but it rocks like a mother. And it's really cool. I mean, I just don't know how to explain it. It's the kind of thing you just driving along and it'd be a perfect driving song. All Connected is really proggy. It's 9 minutes long. It's a lot longer than Cut from the Stars, which is about 5 minutes. All Connected is kind of hard to describe. All Connected. It's got like 27 movements in it, with different key changes and time signatures and different things like that. But it's so well connected, if you don't mind the pun there. It's not like Tales from Topographic Oceans is connected with many songs, but this holds together as one tune with many different, I would say, plans and ideas that just seem to work. I mean, everything about it, I just dig the hell out of this song. And the one that after that is Luminosity. This is the first song we hear on the album where Billy Sherwood's on his fretless bass. And you can tell because he's sliding around, and excellent fretless player he is. He tries to play it where you can't tell it's a fretless, but every once in a while he'll do a portamento slide, glissando up and down the strings. Really cool song. Luminosity is the same length as All Connected, and it's another prog tune, another prog epic, just great. And then after that, there's a kind of a strange song called "Living Out Their Dream," but it's so cool. It's hard to describe what it's like. It's like a '60s tune with some '70s proclivities, ignoring the '80s and ignoring the '90s, and bringing it into the 2000s with the modern kind of sound. And of course, Steve Howe had produced this again. But I love "Living Out Their Dream."
And I know we've talked about this before, but I think as a producer, I think Steve Howe totally knows what to do. And I think him in the producer seat, though I like Trevor Horn, don't get me wrong, but I think Steve Howe, he shined on the Quest, and I think he shines here.
Yeah,
Producer
yeah.
wise, he knows exactly what to do.
He's getting a lot of flack for not having enough Jeff Downs in the mix. But I think the way the keyboards are set up with this album, plus there's a lot of orchestra on this album.
Mm-hmm.
There's what they call the Fame Orchestra. I forgot the guy's name, but they did it different than Magnification. You know, it's not like band plays, orchestra plays, band plays, orchestra plays. I mean, they do that a little bit on the next cut, which is the big epic, the title cut, Mirror to the Sky. Now that's 14 minutes long, and that is a fantastic song. At the end, they start sounding like the Enid. I thought just because of the way the orchestra comes in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, the band's not there at all, and the orchestra finishes off the song. And I will say this: that Billy's playing fretless again on "Mirror to the Sky" at about the 9:25 mark. You can hear the bass tone change. And Steve Howe does this kind of like little classical riff all by himself. And then all of a sudden the whole song just changes complexion. Again, it's like all connected. All these mini songs connected together in "Mirror to the Sky that really works. And then Billy plays some very subtle fretless. It's not like Jaco Pastorius or Percy Jones kind of fretless. You know, it's very, very subtle. You can hardly notice it on this song. And then it goes into full orchestra for about 2 minutes, and Yes isn't even there. So people wonder, you know, you can do those kind of sounds on keyboards with Jeff, but when you hire an orchestra, why bother? And so that's,
Right.
I think they did it. I don't know why they did it like that, but I mean, it's cool. The way they end "Mirror to the Sky," everybody's saying, well, I mean, not everybody's saying, but maybe people are saying, well, where's Yes? Why is the orchestra playing all by itself? Well, anybody that's into John Anderson knows this album here, "Change We Must" from 1994. He does the same thing. He stops singing and the orchestra's just going, you know, flailing away. There's no band on this. This is just John Anderson and an orchestra. So, and I love that record, by the way. So, you know, they're probably thinking, well, if John did it, you know, we can do it. You know,
why not?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
It's all art. Anyway, "Mirror to the Sky," magnificent masterpiece for the record.
How do you feel about this record? The fact that it's got at least 4 tracks are over 8 minutes long.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, isn't that?
I mean, I like epics, you know that.
Right. I mean, you love Tales, so.
And if anybody's going to do epics, it could be Yes.
And it's kind of refreshing. You think about it, 2023, and look what they're doing. I mean, they got a lot of momentum from the previous record, and they just kept going. You know, do you feel like? Can you see like a connection from the Quest to Mirrors? I mean, do you feel like it's like a continuation? How do you look at it? Because look at it, both records are produced by Steve Howe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is there a connection between the two?
My favorite song on, excuse me for cutting you off.
No, yeah.
My favorite song on the Quest, even though the Ice Bridge rocks, my favorite song is "The Western Edge." And of course, I wanted them to play it when I saw them last October, and they didn't. So apparently they weren't touring it. They were only playing the first 2 cuts. I love "Dare to Know." I think it's, well, you know, we did a show on the Quest, right, and I raved about it. I think I gave it a 10. But I mean, you know, it's just that they always want to try something different. You know, I mean, I could stand up for Heaven and Earth on the simple fact that they weren't repeating themselves. They tried to do things And it was Chris's last album, and we all know his health was going to go bad. So he probably just didn't have the wherewithal to play anything, very complex. And that's not a complex album. I think it's an enjoyable listen. I don't have a problem listening to Heaven and Earth. Yes, it's complex in subtle ways, and they're complex in very overt ways. And you have to, as a fan, you have to be able to accept them for what they want to give you. Again, I was saying this in the Emerson Lake and Powell show we just did. Don't judge the album by what you think it should sound like or what's not there. Judge the album by what is there and what you heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mirror to the Sky is fantastic. Circles of Time is a pretty song. I think John Davison has a really nice voice. I've been a fan since I heard him in Glass Hammer way back in 2010. And if anybody doesn't think this guy can sing, listen to those 3 Glass Hammer albums. To get to the bonus tracks, Unknown Place kicks mother frickin' ass.
My goodness.
I love that song. It sounds like Tower of Power, Chicago, and Yes mixed together. And Steve Howe is on fire on that tune, just playing his ass off. And he's 74 years old. I mean, I don't feel so bad. He's only 4 years older than me. But I love that tune, and it's another epic. It's over 9 minutes long.
Right.
And this is a bonus track. Holy cow. This song absolutely is funk. This is Yes doing funk. It's like funkadelic and Yes mixed together. That's what I hear. And the second song for the bonus tracks is called 1 Second Is Enough. And again, we have the return of Billy's Fretless on here. Super cool. I mean, he's playing some very complex lines. But yeah, that song is really cool. I love 1 Second Is Enough. It's a prog rocker. It's really good. And then the last cut, Magic Potion, it's really cool too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's really proggy.
This record's very proggy and very.
It almost sounds
to my ear, it's very refreshing.
Well, Magic Potion kind of sounds like how everybody could have wanted Asia to sound in 1982. Mm-hmm. A little more proggy.
Well, that's a good point.
I was pretty much disappointed. I broke my own rule because I hadn't made it yet, but I was comparing the last things Yes did to Asia, and that wasn't probably fair.
No, that's not the Rand Kelly rule. Well, it's like when I listen to this. You know what would make this record perfect? And it's a comparison thing. I'm sure Billy Sherwood's a great bass player, but it would be nice if we had some Chris Squire tonality on this, where the bass is, if you've got the bass sound from Fragile on here or Close to the Edge, up in the mix. You know how Chris Squire's so up in the mix.
Yeah. I know.
Billy's too, for me, but it doesn't take away from the music or, the quality of the songwriting and the production. Okay. I can handle it. He's no Chris Squire. I got it. But
he can do it, but he's been asked to do it and he turns it down, and I don't blame him.
Because I miss Chris Squire, boy, because he could have this would have been the perfect album for him to rip on.
Well, that's the reason he doesn't use a Rickenbacker with Yes, is because he didn't want it to sound like Chris Squire. He wanted it to sound like Billy
part of the Yes sound is Chris Squire. He is him and John Anderson. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it's what makes classic Yes is Chris Squire, John Anderson, and Steve Howe. Steve Howe, when he joined the band, and his guitar tone, I mean, it's unidentified. You cannot.
Yeah, right.
You could have Bill Bruford playing drums or Alan White, and it's still. But if you've got Squire, Anderson, and Howe in there, I think that's the core magic to me.
Well, yeah,
it's nice to have Rick Wakeman in there or Tony Kaye. I don't have a problem with that.
I said the classic era to me is 1971 through 1977. Mm-hmm. I think that there's some good songs on Tormato. to me, it's not the perfect album, but it's good. I think it's good for, again, with the time. 1978 was sort of there's a word for it, death knell.
Well, it's a lot of disco going on, Rand. A lot of disco.
Oh yeah, at the time, yeah, I know. And but I just think, I'll tell you something. Here's a fun fact. If you want to see Billy Sherwood for just a nanosecond playing the Chris Squire Rickenbacker, check out the video on YouTube called Gentle Giant Proclamation. Everybody's playing on it.
Okay.
50 people or something like that. For that, Billy chose to play the Rick. But he won't bring it out on stage with Yes.
People would love that.
And I know they would.
They would love it.
Yeah, but they did that tour where they had the bass and they played.
We want to hear it.
But you know what? Here's the deal. He's changed basses. He was using the Spectre, and the last time I saw him in October, he's got a brand new customized Ibanez that they made exactly for him how he wanted. And to me, live, it sounded just like a Rick.
Wow.
But he loves listen to that. He loves Ibanez. I'm assuming the fretless is the Spectre that he used on when they did the Gates of Delirium. They did Soon on the very end, and he switched basses after the big war. And it came back with a red fretless. I'm assuming that's what he's using on this album.
I'd like to see him bring out the Electro Outlaw. Come on, let's do it.
And Steve Howe is my favorite guitar player ever. And he is just on fire on this whole album. What a producer, what a guitarist.
Well, he doesn't seem to overplay on this record either. He seems to, well, he's plays to what the song, needs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. He doesn't overplay.
It's not like a solo album, where he could just let loose.
Yeah, I bought that one.
Yeah, I find that this whole record's very much a band effort to me.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, this is the first time. The difference between this and the Quest is they did the Quest like we're doing this show. They weren't in the same room. They did this album in the same room.
I think that makes a difference.
Bands just gel better when they're together. Main difference of this album as opposed to the last one is Jay Schillen. He's just rocking.
He's great.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's great. Maybe that added just enough life they needed.
And this is 3/5 of Arc of Life too. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but those guys are. Arc of Life is John Davison and Steve Howe and Billy Sherwood. Not Steve Howe, excuse me. Jimmy Hahn.
I would have forgotten about him.
Well, Jimmy Hahn is the guitar player in Arc of Life, and they sound really good. They got John Davison on vocals and Billy Sherwood. Their last album, Don't Look Down, great album, really good. I love it a lot. But anyways, getting back to the Mirror of the Sky. Yeah, to me, this is the best Yes since the Key Studio album came out in 2001.
We're quoting you, Rand. This is the next best to that.
I think this is a 9.8.
Holy mackerel.
And the only reason I'm giving it a 0.8 is because I just don't think Circles of Time is a strong ending. I think you need a strong opener and you need a strong ending. And this is just, it sort of fizzles out with the ending of the album. Thank God they put the bonus tracks with it, But people.
Well, they're on there now on this version. It's a limited edition though.
Well, with people, yeah. Well, but thank God Amazon put them up because I wouldn't have been able to hear them. Right. But people that buy LPs, they tend to separate the bonus tracks from the album, and I don't do that. Because I listen to it all in one shot, I don't go, well, I'm going to listen to the album 17 times in a row, and then I'll go check out the bonus tracks. I don't ever do that.
Well, I've been listening to it as just one piece with the bonus tracks. And in my mind, when I'm listening to it, nothing comes up as a red flag saying, well, these don't fit on here at all. You know what I mean? It just seems like it all works. And I don't find any of the bonus tracks weak by any means.
No, what I'm
So,
saying is all three bonus tracks are stronger than Circles of Time.
well,
They could have
maybe,
ended
maybe
with,
the sequencing could have been a little bit better on the record, you know?
yeah, they could have ended the regular album with like say Magic Potion. That would
Mhm.
have been a nice ending.
And you
And it
gave it
doesn't
what a 9.8?
eight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have said 10. Yeah,
All
I mean,
right. So a 9 point.
I think this is the comeback album that people wanted from Heaven and Earth. I think if Heaven and Earth and the Quest didn't happen and this happened
Mhm.
and they would have waited a while, you know, for Billy to get into the band, I think things would be way different with the way so-called hardcore Yes fans are towards this record. But to not listen to it and say, I'm never going to listen to it, I know it's going to suck, you're missing out. I'm telling you right now, you are missing out.
There you go, kids.
You're lost if you don't listen to this record, because you're going to kick yourself in the ass when everybody's telling you how good it is.
Well, there you go. There's our review on the new Yes
Joke.
album.
Yeah. Just don't let what you feel about the Quest or Heaven and Earth, or even Fly From Here, for that matter, or
Mhm.
maybe even Magnification. Don't let any of that poison you out of listening to this, because this is
It's a wonderful record.
it towers over all those.
Yeah. All right, Rand, I want to thank you for coming on. Thanks for doing this review. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun to have Rand on the show. So go out, check out the new Yes album, buy it, stream it, go to Amazon. Actually, go to your local retailer if you can, independent record stores. We love to support the independent record stores. So please like, subscribe. There's going to be more great content. We'll have more Rand on this channel, so get ready. So I don't know, Rand, do you have anything to add before we wrap it up?
Well, like I said, you know, when you listen to an album that somebody said or you thought the last one was bad, try to forget that and just go in with a fresh set of ears and an open mind and open your soul, because this music is real special.
All right. Well put. All right, Rand. Thanks very much. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Please leave a comment about this record. Tell us what you think. Tell us what tracks you like. Do we miss Chris Squire? Do we miss Alan White? Just leave a comment, please. We love comments, and I'll always try to respond to them. So without any further ado, let's sign off. And Rand, Kelly, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Grant, take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.